it's just like such a wonderful thing that I have discovered, and it has helped me so much, and it helped me to completely overcome binge eating and helps me to stay binge free like forever. Hey everyone, I am here again with another video, and today I really wanted to share with you about why it is and how it is that transitioning to a vegan diet actually really helped me to overcome binge eating disorder. And it's not what you might think. When I came to the vegan diet with a very long history of binge restrict behavior and habits, and when I first started learning about veganism, a lot of the YouTubers at the time were saying that the reason that you binge is because, or the reason that you overeat is because basically your body is like starved of nutrients. You're eating the wrong foods, you're not getting enough carbohydrates, you're not getting enough nutrients, you're not getting enough fiber, you're not getting enough water. So your brain basically is telling you that you need to eat more. It's not getting enough nourishment, and that's why you're binging. And that when you transition to more of a whole foods, plant-based diet, now that you're getting adequate carbohydrates, you're getting adequate phytonutrients, you're getting adequate fiber, and you're getting adequate hydration, that naturally your body is going to stop asking you to eat so much because your body is actually nourished now. And when I first came to the diet, this made a lot of sense to me. I mean, it still makes a lot of sense to me, and there's still a lot of truth behind that, I would say. However, I will tell you that when I went vegan, when I went vegan and I went high carb, low fat vegan and high raw vegan and had periods of fully raw vegan, and overall kept my fat really low, and I still struggled with binge eating for more than 6 years on this diet. So those factors, though they logically make sense, it's not what was going on for me, and it was not just like I need to change the way I eat and now I'm magically cured of my binge eating disorder. That is not what happened. So when I initially went vegan, I actually thought that I was going to lose weight because I was going to stop binging because of all the reasons that I just listed, and that just didn't happen for me. I actually ended up gaining weight on the vegan diet when I first transitioned, and I talk all about that in the previous video that I made, and I'll put a link to that. But anyways, how is it that the vegan diet actually helped me to overcome my binge eating disorder? And I'm smiling because it's just like such a wonderful thing that I have discovered, and it has helped me so much, and it helped me to completely overcome binge eating and helps me to stay binge free like forever. So the main reason that I first became interested in veganism was because I was very interested in making a compassionate choice to not eat animals. And the more I learned about veganism, I learned that it is a kind decision to not eat animals, and it's also a kind decision to choose foods that are lower on the food chain so that you're using less resources to make these foods, and that also a plant-based diet in general most of the time is a lot healthier than a meat-based diet or a standard American diet. So when you're transitioning to this diet, you're being more compassionate to the animals, you're being more compassionate to the planet itself, and you're also being more compassionate to yourself because you're feeding yourself nourishing foods. And I have to say that when I started learning about this was really my first introduction to this concept of compassion, making conscious choices in my life that are out of kindness, that are going to do good things for myself and others. And it was this idea of compassion that really stuck with me. It sparked that feeling of compassion and that desire to be compassionate within myself, and I kept going with it, like that. My compassion for the earth and for others and for myself, as I continued on the vegan path, it got bigger inside of me, and it got stronger, and it got to the point where I sort of had an epiphany, and the compassion aspect of veganism is how I actually ended up overcoming my binge eating disorder. And so what I mean by that is I used this idea that I call compassionate awareness. So what I had discovered was that I had discovered, and when I say discovered, I mean acknowledged, because I always knew on some level that I had binge eating disorder for a long time, but I never acknowledged it to myself. I never acknowledged that I had a problem that I had to proactively work to overcome within myself, and that I wasn't going to be able to just like cure my disordered eating from some external diet, making some external change in my life, that I actually was going to have to go within and figure out why it was that I was binging so much on food and had such a terrible relationship with food, and then kind of work from the inside out to solve that problem. And the way that I used compassionate awareness is basically I became aware of myself and my habits and my thoughts, and I also chose to have compassion for myself. I chose to stop telling myself that I was worthless and that there was something wrong with me, that I couldn't stop eating. And instead of having that negative dialogue with myself, saying things that like I'm so fat and I'm just not worthy to like exist in society because the way that my body looks, instead of believing those things about myself, I chose to, one, stop thinking that way, and two, start to notice and ask myself from a place of curiosity, compassionate curiosity, why is it that I'm struggling? Like approaching myself as an unbiased passerby and asking myself, like, why is it that you're struggling? And it wasn't until I decided to allow myself grace and compassion that I was actually able to listen to what was going on inside of me and understand why it was that I was binging, and then take steps to stop myself from continuously binging after that. So transitioning to the vegan diet definitely helped me in a lot of ways. When I started changing the way that I eat, I did start to feel better physically, and it was also really empowering to choose nourishing choices for myself. However, it didn't help me lose weight. It didn't help me overcome my binge eating disorder. I was still overeating on the right foods. I was still binging out on the right foods. And it wasn't until I started having compassion for myself, like real compassion for myself, and accepting myself where I was at, that I was able to make a game plan for myself to actually get out of my habit and cycle of disordered eating. So that is definitely how veganism helped me the most on recovering from my binge eating disorder. And the food itself was definitely kind of like a landing pad for my compassion awareness that I gained later on. Because once I started making healthier choices for myself, over time, I just kept liking the way that I was feeling inside of myself, making healthier choices for myself, and I kept feeling better and better. And over time, my compassion for myself grew. And which I know this is true for me, and I know it's true for so many people, that a lot of us come from a space of like total self-degradation. Like from a child, I was using food as a coping mechanism and a soothing mechanism, and as a main source of comfort in my life, because I felt unworthy for XYZ reasons that originated in my childhood. And we grow up having these like really negative ideas of ourselves and really negative internal conversations with ourselves. And it wasn't until my compassion grew to a point that I was actually able to like not only say like, I'm gonna treat the animals with kindness, I'm gonna treat the earth with kindness, I'm gonna treat other people with kindness, but grew to a point where I was able to say, hey, I think it's also important for me to treat myself with kindness, to treat myself with compassion. And it was from that space, that cultivation of self-compassion, that I was able to examine myself and my habits and my history without judgment, and lovingly make a game plan for myself to break this habit of using food as a coping mechanism, and instead dealing with my emotions in a new way, in a new loving way, and a new conscious way, so that I could slowly, with time, start to move away from using food as a coping mechanism and have overall understanding and awareness of my entire situation, so that I could then in my life today make food choices for myself from a place of intelligence, instead of just like letting my mind or my body run the show. Like, oh, I'm feeling a certain way and I just need to eat a cookie right now. Like, I can now stop and have compassion for myself and say, oh wow, like something's up because you're craving food right now. And you, like, I thought about the activity that I've done today, and I thought about the food that I've already eaten today, and I really shouldn't be hungry right now. So like, why is it that I'm craving this food, and what are these emotions that I'm trying to cover up? And from there, make a choice of intelligence on whether or not I'm going to go into the kitchen and have a snack or prepare a meal, or do something else, or, you know, just sit with myself and figure out what it is that I'm trying to hide from. So in short, that is how veganism, transitioning to the vegan diet, totally and completely helped me to overcome and completely recover from my binge eating disorder. And it wasn't because my body was starving for nutrients. It wasn't because I wasn't getting enough carbohydrates. It wasn't because I wasn't getting enough hydration. I wasn't getting enough nutrients. I wasn't getting enough fiber. It was not a physical thing. It was an emotional thing. And until I compassionately addressed the emotional things going on inside of myself, until then, it took me 6+ years on the vegan diet to get to this point. It wasn't until then that I was actually able to take the tool of compassionate awareness and make conscious and intelligent decisions for myself from a place of compassion to move forward in my life and be completely binge free. So I hope that this video was helpful, because I know that there are so many videos on YouTube, and I've watched a lot of them. I have for several years, about how you're supposed to just be able to change your diet, and that external decision that you make alone is going to just completely cure you of the emotional attachment that you have to food, like inside of yourself. And I just wanted to share that that just was not the case for me, and it took something a lot different for me to actually fully recover from binge eating disorder. So I want to leave you with this. I've created a free guide. It's a journal called the Opportunity Journal, and it's 6 steps that you can do today to stop binge eating today. And if you are interested in that journal, it's 6 steps that I personally use every single day to keep myself binge free. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description. So go ahead and check that out. If it helps you, that would be really great. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.